love the Killers. So the U.S. and Hezbollah finally agree. It's our fault, not theirs. But this rush to blame what's been called the U.S.-made film raises some questions, like, where's Alec Baldwin? Why is he so quiet? Isn't freedom of expression the default cocktail chatter of the Hollywood artiste? Chances are the only way to get Hollywood to defend the filmmaker would be if he suddenly did a sequel showing that Christians kidnap orphans for food. But if you think art can make people kill, then shouldn't you support art control? Carrying a concealed haiku would require a license. How about a 5-day waiting period for tasteful etchings? See, this isn't about acts of terror, but a response to them. Blaming that video for unrest is like blaming the Fort Hood massacre on workplace violence. It's moral cowardice, a refusal to confront our enemies, because then you must reject your own assumptions about evil America. Repeat after me, it's them, not us, which runs counter to teachers' lounge logic that stains the White House. But if it's our fault, why aren't Muslims rioting in the U.S.? Maybe because our government doesn't orchestrate it. Only the media would think Romney's response is scarier than our appeasement. This is not a war for Islam's hearts and minds, but for our lungs and kidneys. We cannot forfeit our Western principles to appease haters. But it's the media, the champions of free expression, doing just that. They track the filmmaker down, justifying anti-West outrage on the heels of romanticizing its sister scam, Occupy Wall Street. And why? Because it's all they know. Cultivated on the college campus, the only thing that stuck was a disgust for American strength. There's a reason Bill Ayers never bombed a college. Those were his hearts and minds.
Nice. Great analogy.
Where is the ACLU?
You
yes.
really believe what you just read?
Respond with facts. Don't ask me if I believe it.
When you say college campuses and teachers' lounge, you're assuming that all college campuses are appeasers.
80% of college campuses are overwhelmingly liberal. The professors have tenure, allowing them to profess ideas that no real American would even care about.
Well,
the anti-Americanism is born in universities. That's where it comes from, and it bleeds into government civil servants, and that's why we have this now. There's nobody in the White House, there's nobody in academic who actually thinks our government is not at fault.
But you're suggesting that bureaucrats, people who work for the government, are anti-American?
No, I'm saying that they were born and bred in an environment which taught them that way. Most professors, studies show, are overwhelmingly left-wing. This is where you get the attitude.
Which is so fascinating, because the media that makes a living and is supposed to be embracing free speech is somehow apologizing for it, which I find to be very, very strange.
The Hollywood non-response is bizarre.
Yeah.
They talk about everything all the time. And all of a sudden, they've gone mute.
Yes.
Which is more telling than anything they could have
actually
said.
kind of a relief. It's nice not to hear from them.
I haven't missed them very much.
Yes.
I don't want to cut you off. Can we throw that picture up of the filmmaker again when he's all like in disguise and the cops are leading him out? To me, America changed. I
agree.
Someone emailed me that picture. Mark Levin actually sent it to me to take a look at this. America changed at that moment. To use what is being called a flimsy ploy to bring this guy in for questioning proves that the Obama administration, through all this appeasement and apologizing, answers to the Quran first and to the Constitution second. There's no reason for that man to be brought in.
Even for you, that's an outrageous statement.
For him to be brought in.
That is the most outrageous. Of all the things you've said, and I love you, brother, but that's the most outrageous statement I've ever heard.
Why was that man brought in?
He was brought in because he was investigated for parole jumping. That's why.
Parole jumping?
Oh, yeah, suddenly they find that. Suddenly they find his parole.
They shouldn't have pulled. I agree with that. But I'll tell you one thing. If he had any sense, this is a guy who was apparently a Coptic Christian. I can understand why they're outraged because they're churches.
You've defended
That's right, I have. But that does not mean that I would have suggested to him that they put together a film like this that was bound to incite an incitable group of people.
How many high school
he should do anything he wants. If he wants to make a movie.
But how many high school students this weekend do you think try to put together a video that would be more outrageous than that one?
Yeah.
And then what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Call in everybody?
And by the way, you only incite more violence if you prove to them that violence works. Like, okay, we're going to apologize. Then they know by killing Americans, this is how you shut Americans up.
Or that it's wrong, right? Then they say, oh, look, the administration is actually agreeing with us.
Or they
can go,
and they can go back to their coffee clutches and say, see, we've got America to arrest the guy.
Yeah, you know what?
That's the picture. You think this is the picture that's all over the Middle East today?
Yeah.
Not the one of them outrageous. Not one of
I got to tell you, I love the New York Post. They're owned by our parent company, but this ticked me off. Sunday I buy the Post, drink my coffee, and they have Cinemaniac. They probably did this because they love the headline, but this is so bogus. I mean, they say he This is the loon who set fire to the Muslim world. No, the Muslims set fire to the Muslim world.
But
they need
that doesn't
this
change the fact he's a loon.
Wait,
well, he is a loon.
But they need this excuse because don't forget, this is embarrassing to the administration.
Yeah.
Al-Qaeda had better intelligence than we did. And 8 weeks before a presidential election, a successful terrorist attack when we dropped the ball does not look good for this president.
Listen,
that's why they keep making an issue of this video.
If we want to encourage people to all that free speech they want, but listen, if in a reasonable world, would we want to encourage people to do this kind of film when we know the result of it is going to be?
No one encouraged him.
And also, it's,
hold on.
And also,
Certainly
it's about,
somebody encouraged
Bob, it's also about being
himself.
unreasonable.
Bob,
you can be unreasonable.
But
That's
then
all
I
right.
think that we should. I think the administration should demand that Sony cancel the release of the Killing Bin Laden film, or else you don't know what's going to happen.
It's a good point.
How many Americans could die after that?
If you tell that man he can't or anyone else can't make a film just like this Muslim film,
Nobody
you're
said he
shredding
couldn't.
the Constitution.
No.
On Constitution.
Who said? I didn't say he
it's just that you could get arrested.
Shouldn't.
I don't think he should have.
Here, it's protected.
That's right.
You know what it is?
Of course, he's got the right to do it, but that doesn't mean that you also have the right, I guess, to yell fire in a theater.
You have a right to protest as well. You don't have a right to kill American ambassadors.
You know what the parallel is? The parallel is building the mosque near the World Trade Center. You can do that. It's kind of a bad move. You kind of suck for doing it. It's the same thing with this. You can make the video. Kind of a jerk, but you can make the video. That's the way it works.
Well,
you have a right, but it doesn't make it right.
Yeah,
that's right. Well,
and no one's saying that they should have done it.
But it didn't spark anything. The only thing that sparked violence is our way of life. That's it.
If something else would have sparked it, I agree.
Yeah.
But to see it across 20 different countries at one time.
They don't need a spark. They don't need a spark.
Well, why weren't they doing something a month ago or 2 months ago?
You got to go.
They've been doing. They ran planes into our World Trade Center.
No, I'm talking about the last 2
You know what caused the spark?
They don't need an excuse.
Bruce Springsteen's Dancing in the Dark. All right, coming up. They're the highest paid teachers in